Here's how I helped this athlete gain 14 inches on his vertical jump from barely scraping the rim to windmill dunks, dunking in games, and doing all the fun stuff that you can do when you transform your athleticism. We got a question today from Gagan BKP4Q, who says, make a video on your athlete who gained 14 inches on his vertical jump in 2 years. Explain what workouts he did and how he progressively overloaded. I have something even better for you. I have the step-by-step process, the exact 10 steps that I used with this athlete to help him gain 14 inches on his vertical jump so that you can use these steps and do the same exact thing for yourself. Before we get started, I have just a few housekeeping items. This video is 100% a plug for my vertical jump secret system. So don't get mad. I'm telling you right away, this is a disclaimer. I am 100% plugging my own program. So I'm still going to give you the steps, but understand that I made the vertical jump secret system based around what I do with my athletes that I train in person, my high school guys, my college guys, and my pro athletes. So this is 100% a plug for my own program, but I'm still going to give you the steps. Number 2, like this video right now. Subscribe to the channel. We post every single day at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and leave a comment down below for the algorithm. And if you don't have any money for the vertical jump secret system because you're broke, that is okay. I was once broke as well. However, now people buy my system and I'm not broken. I can feed my family and I can feed my cat right here who is lazy, but it might be his rest day. And he has higher bounce than all of us, so he can do what he wants. Anyways, if you're broke and you got no monies, comment JUMP, J-U-M-P down below in the comment section, and I will send you a free bodyweight vertical jump training program. And last thing, I am going to get this question so much in the comment section, so I'm just going to say it now. They always say, how tall is he? He got to be like 6'6". He got to be like at least 6'4". He's 6'1". And this transformation happened. He was 5'11" when he was a freshman, and then he was 6'1". He's still 6'1". I will put a video of him standing next to me. He's not crazy tall. He just got bounce. But that is just a disclaimer. He is 6'1" for all of you who are going to spam the comments. All right, let's get into it. The 10 steps that you can use for yourself, step-by-step process. Step number 1, he hired me as his trainer. And I'd love to say I'm joking, but I'm not, because that played a big part of it. Imagine if you had me as your trainer, a sports performance coach, a professional strength coach who trains professional basketball players. Imagine if you go to high school one day, because I'm also his high school basketball coach. Imagine you walk into high school and you see Nathaniel Morton, and he will train you for free because you play for his high school team. And you got the work ethic. You're ready to transform your athleticism in your game. That played a big role. So there's 2 parts of this. Number 1, if you have a trainer like me, which if you get my vertical jump secret system, shameless plug, you can have me as your trainer and I will coach you through the vertical jump secret system. So you could do the same exact thing that he did. But number 1, I gave him the correct exercises. He didn't have to go and try to watch a bunch of YouTube videos and find out all these exercises for himself. I wonder what I do to increase my vertical. No. He had me as his coach pulling the strings. I was the puppet master. I said, do this for this amount of sets and this amount of reps. He said, okay. And he got bounced. So number 1, he hired me as his trainer, but he did the correct exercises, which just to give you guys a few exercises that we did the most: sprints, bounds, hops, power skips, dunks or max approach jumps. Then we did squats, rear foot elevated split squat, single leg RDLs, barbell RDLs. We did some hyper extensions in there, some calf raises, and some step ups. And I would say that is probably the bulk of the exercises that we did. That was the majority. And the second part of hiring me as his trainer is I was there every step of the way. This is the most important thing to increase your vertical jump. I was there every step of the way to force him to progressive overload. He didn't even know he was progressive overloading. He just did what I said to do. But I wrote down, what did he do last time? Wrote it down. Next workout, I have a great idea. To increase his bounce, we're going to do a little bit more. Imagine that. You force the body to change. You stimulate adaptation by forcing it to see something that it's never seen before. Then the body says, what is this? I guess we'll get some bounce. So step number 1, of the 10 steps is he hired me as his trainer. This one is kind of a joke, but not really. I was there to give him the exact correct exercises, the perfect strategy that he needed, and force him to progressive overload because he was one of my athletes that played for my high school team. And that puts me into step number 2, which is we did 2 to 3 workouts every single week for 2 years straight. I can count on one hand the amount of workouts that he missed. And we train at 6 a.m. So we go in before school, 6 a.m. He does his workouts then. So he is committed. He was ready. He approached me in the 9th grade after scoring 7 points on JV. He only scored 7 points the entire season on JV. And he came up and he said, "Coach Nate, I suck. Can you help me not suck?" And I said, "Yes, let's get it." And ever since then, we've been locked in. He's been training, and he pretty much did all of the work. All that I had to do was tell him what to do, and he did it. So step number 2, we did 2 to 3 workouts every single week for 2 years. Even when he broke his wrist, he stayed consistent. So the consistency is really going to play a big role for you. So if you want to increase your vertical jump, you can't just do a month of, I worked out 2 to 3 times a week for a month. I'm not seeing gains yet. I'm going to quit. All right, well, go quit and have no bounce. But if you keep going and you do 2 to 3 workouts, the correct workouts, which I'm going to talk more about as I give you these next steps, 2 to 3 workouts every single week for until eternity, until the day that you die, then you will be 99 years old with bounce. And you will increase your vertical jump. So that is step number 2. Step number 1, he hired me as his trainer, correct exercises, progressive overload. Step number 2, we did 2 to 3 workouts a week for 2 years. Step number 3, during those 3 workouts, we based the intensity off of how he felt. This is so important. A lot of you, especially if you have a low training age and you don't really know what you're doing yet, it's not your fault. You're just not that experienced. If you follow a vertical jump program and that program says, do these exercises for these sets and these reps, but yesterday you had a basketball game and you feel really fatigued and really sore, but you still go in there and you crush the workout like you're supposed to, that is not optimal. More power to you for being consistent. More power to you for not being soft. But what he had was me as his trainer who could say, hey, we just hooped yesterday. So we just had a game yesterday. So what we're going to do today is we're going to drop the intensity down a little bit, and we are going to base the workouts off of how you feel. Coach, I'm really sore. My body's hurting a little bit. I'm kind of stiff. So then we're just going to go through the motions, go through the movements, do some ballistic stuff, get some blood flow, and do some more recovery work. We're still doing all the exercises that we're supposed to do, but we're doing them at lower volume, lower intensities. We're going to take it as a deload day. So step number 3 is during the 2 to 3 workouts that we did every week, we based the intensity off of how he felt. If he felt fresh, then I crushed him. If he felt fatigued, then we backed off a little bit. So you can use this for yourself. Base your workouts off of how you feel. If you don't feel completely fresh, then just do like a deload day. Do about 70% intensity, 70% volume, and go from there. But once again, to plug my vertical jump secret system, this is one of the best things about my vertical jump secret system. We have levels for every single exercise. So your goal, if you get the vertical jump secret system, is to climb the levels. You cannot unlock the next phase of the vertical jump secret system until you pass all of the highest levels of the current phase that you are on. Once you can pass the highest levels, then you can unlock the next phase. But if any day you go in and you don't feel 100% fresh or ready to do that workout, then you do the lower levels of the exercises and you use it as a deload day, and then the next workout, you go as hard as you can. But that's step number 3. We base the intensity off of how he felt. Step number 4, we did isometrics before every single workout. This is very important because on your vertical jump journey, you might run into knee pain. I had debilitating knee pain. I had a 43-inch vertical jump with the most knee pain that I ever had in my life. I was like, wow, I can jump really high. I can dunk everything. I can do a standing vertical jump, stand right in front of the hoop, jump up and dunk with 2 hands. Well, guess what? My knees hurt really bad. So what I did for him from the very beginning was we did isometrics before every single workout. And I do ISOs a little bit different than many other coaches. What I do, I'm going to give you all the secrets here. This stuff is all in the vertical jump secret system. Shameless plug, but I'm still going to give you the secrets here. What I do for my isometrics and what I do when I train all of my athletes is we flip-flop isometrics. So we have 3 workout days a week. On Monday, we go in and we do ISOs 45 seconds, right? We work our way up to loaded ISOs. So like a loaded Spanish squat or a loaded lunge hold, 45 seconds holding weights, 3 to 5 sets of 45 seconds. Then on Wednesday, when we go in, we do body weight isometrics, but it's for time. So we try to work our way up to 2 minutes. So Monday, 3 to 5 sets of 45 seconds. Wednesday, 3 sets of working our way up to 2 minutes. So 3 sets of 2 minutes. Friday, back to 45 seconds. Monday, now we're at 2 minutes. So I flip-flop my isometrics between 45 seconds with load and 2 minutes with body weight. So yeah, that is step number 4. We did isometrics before every single workout. Step number 5, we did plyos and weights together. So a lot of people think you got to do full plyo exercise or workouts and then full strength workouts, which there is nothing wrong with that. As long as you are progressive overloading and you are forcing change in your body, you are doing more than last time so that your body is forced to adapt. You are stimulating the organism and forcing change. That is the biggest thing with vertical jump. As long as you are doing that, it doesn't matter if you do plyos in one workout, weights in another, or plyos and weights together. But for sake of saving us time, we did plyos and weights in the same workout 3 days a week. So yeah, take that for what it is. That is step number 5. We did plyos first, and then we did weights afterwards. Step number 6, I started him with a basic prep phase. So obviously when you're first starting vertical jump training, this is another mistake. If he didn't have me as his trainer, he might have saw on TikTok, here's what you got to do. You got to squat heavy. And then he goes and squats heavy and he gets hurt. No, we start with a basic prep phase. And if you're an athlete that is not a beginner, right, you still might want to cycle back to this basic prep phase. And here's what you want in a basic prep phase: eccentrics, isometrics, low-level extensive plyos. You want, I don't want to forget anything. I wrote it down here. You want deceleration work. You want force absorption work. You want regressions of the more intense exercises that you're going to get in the later phases. So what I did when he first came to me and said, hey, coach, I'm not really good. I want to get better. I said, well, we got to train. You got to do both skills workouts and you got to do some strength workouts. He said, great, let's get it. So we didn't just jump into it. We did a basic prep phase, a foundation phase, whatever you want to call it, a beginner phase, a general strengthening phase. My fault, bro. I just hit you in your head. I'll shock you. So yeah, eccentrics, isos, low-level extensive plyos, deceleration work, force absorption work, regressions, and then we worked our way up from there. Step number 7, we did mixed training to start. We started with a mixed training model. So if you don't know what that is, that just means that, so when I said we do plyos and weights in the same workout for step 5, step 7 is we did mixed training. That means that we did a warm-up. Every single workout we did this. We did a warm-up. Then we did some speed or velocity work or some plyometrics. Then we did power work. Then we did strength work. And then we did hypertrophy work in every single workout. So it's not a ton of exercises for each one of these categories. It's just 1 or 2 exercises for speed or plyos or velocity, 1 or 2 for power, 1 or 2 for strength, 1 or 2 for hypertrophy. But we did use a mixed training model at first, and then we moved up from there. Step number 8, after we did the mixed training, we moved to focusing on more of what matters. And here's what I mean by that. With the mixed training, you got your speed, power, strength, hypertrophy. You might have a couple exercises for each. You have more exercises in one single workout. What we did after about a year or so, once he started getting really advanced, is we would focus on 2 or 3 exercises per workout. And you're going to say, wow, that's really not a lot at all. That's once you get more advanced, once you have a higher training age, and once you get pretty strong. You get really fast. You're really powerful. You're jumping really high. You might have to start doing less exercises and making sure that you are forcing progressive overload on those the fewer number of exercises. So here's what I mean. We went from, I'll give you an example of a mixed training day. Come on, bro. Don't be giving yourself a bath in front of all these people. Anyways, let me give you an example of a mixed training workout, and then I'll give you an example of a workout that we did once he got a little bit more advanced. So with a mixed training workout, we might go into the gym and warm up by doing, 3 sets of 2 minutes of reverse dead mills, superset with 45-second wall sits or lunge holds or whatever isometric it was for that day. Then we might follow it up with a plyometric sequence. This is still the warm-up. Plyometric sequences, are just, you jump over 2 hurdles, then you jump laterally over a hurdle. Oh, you're back, bro. Now you're gone. And then you jump back laterally over a hurdle, then you jump onto a box. Maybe some repeated reactive box jumps, or maybe some low-intensity dunks, something that is fun, that is going to warm up the body. Then we got into that first category, speed, velocity, plyos, reactive strength. And we would do something like drop jumps or depth jumps or, higher intensity dunks or seated box jumps, some sort of plyo normally, some sprints, some sort of plyo in that first category. Then we would get into power, and our power work honestly was normally, sometimes it was high pulls, but most of the time it was squats, I'll be honest. It was squats between 50 and 80% of your 1 rep max. So focusing, if you look at the force velocity curve, focusing more on power or strength speed. Then we would get into the strength category. And in the strength category is normally where we did more than one exercise. We would do something like a single leg RDL or a barbell RDL, sometimes a hyperextension, and then we would do a calf raise. So now we hit our squat, hinge, calf raise. And then we would end with some hypertrophy in the beginning. Well, that I'm talking about the beginning, mixed training. We would end with some hypertrophy, which by hypertrophy, it's not technically hypertrophy, but sometimes we would do some monster walks or some banded walks. Sometimes we would do some lunges, something that is higher rep, higher volume, that is just going to build more of a foundation for his body. Then, so that's all mixed training. I just wanted to give you that example. Then step 8 is when we would focus on more of what matters. He's advanced now. We need to take a fewer number of exercises and be sure that we are progressive overloading those fewer number of exercises. So we would do something like dunks, and then squats, and that is the entire workout. Warm up, continue to warm up through your dunks, full dunk session, and then squat at the end. We might do something like sprints and rear foot elevated split squat. We might do something like single leg hops, and then barbell RDLs, and then calf raises. But the focus here, since it's a fewer number of exercises, it's going to be more volume for those fewer number of exercises and as high intensity as possible. So for the dunks and squats day, we would dunk and dunk and dunk and dunk and dunk until he'd be like, all right, coach, I'm tired. And then I'd be like, all right, stop dunking, use the drop-off principle, jump until you can't get a higher jump, dunk until you feel like your body's tired, stop there. Then we would go squat, or then we would go rear foot elevated split squat, and we would try to progressive overload squats, or try to progressive overload rear foot elevated split squat. So we would sprint until, I have a timing system. We would sprint until he wouldn't get a PR anymore, until we saw the drop off in his sprints. Then we would go do rear foot elevated split squat. We would hop until he got tired. Then we would go do RDLs, and then we would go do calf raises, progressive overloading the RDLs and calf raises. So that is step number 8. We focused more on what matters once he got advanced by doing fewer exercises and making sure that we progressive overloaded those fewer number of exercises. Step number 9, almost done here. Hopefully this video is valuable for you. If it is, subscribe. Step number 9, the way that I periodized him was we had a volume phase, then a deload for a week, then a back off phase, then volume, deload, back off. Volume, deload, back off. And let me explain what I mean by this. And shameless plug, this is exactly what we do in the vertical jump secret system. Stop playing with your gains. Get my vertical jump secret system. I will coach you through it. You can get 14 inches as well. I guarantee at least 6 to 12 inches, or I give you your money back. What other coach does that? None. So by volume phase, it was normally a 4 to 8 week phase of, you guessed it, higher volume. Then, by higher volume, I just mean more exercises, more sets, more reps. Something that you're not going to really feel super bouncy in a volume phase, but you're really trying to force adaptation. You're really trying to give your body, stimulate your body in a way that it hasn't seen before by just punching it in the face. Yeah, that's essentially a volume phase. But then we would deload for a week. So 4 to 8 weeks of volume, depending on where we were, preseason, postseason. Is it summertime? Like, where are we at? 4 to 8 weeks of volume, 1 week deload, and then a 4-week back off phase. Now, this back off phase is huge. This is a mistake that I made when I created Beyond the Rim 2. This is just me admitting my own faults. When I created Beyond the Rim 2, I would do volume phase, deload, volume phase, deload, volume phase, deload, volume phase, deload. Well, guess what? Nobody wants to just not feel bouncy until the deload, and then not feel bouncy until the deload, and then not, like, that's a terrible way to train. So we follow this as well, and as I said, we follow this in the vertical jump secret system, but you can follow this too. You do a volume phase, crush yourself, then you do a deload, then you do a back off of 4 weeks. And the 4-week back off phase is where you're really allowing super compensation to occur. You're allowing all that work that you did in the volume phase to come through, and you're dunking on everybody. And it's like poetry. You're going through the lane. They think you're just going to lay up on their head. So a back off phase, 4 weeks long, normally. It doesn't have to be. One of my athletes, this is just what I'm just going to give you as much value as possible. One of the athletes that I train online, my customized coaching, we don't even do volume phases. We do it's just essentially a strictly back off phase. Like, we do high intensity, but low volume all the time so that he always feels bouncy. Now, the gains are probably going to be a little bit less, tiny bit, but that's just what we do. So a back off phase is 2 to 6 weeks, I guess. 4 weeks is normally the sweet spot of really high intensity, but really low volume. So really low sets and reps. So we might do something like 5 sets of 3 or 5 sets of 2 for squats, 80% 1 rep max, moving the bar as fast as you possible, working on our power, or 5 sets of 2, 5 sets of 3 as heavy as we can. It might be sprints for 5 sets as fast as possible. It might be dunks until you see a drop off. It's essentially just lower volume, right? So you're crushing yourself. No, in the back off phase, I feel like I'm not explaining this well, but hopefully you get me. Leave a question down below if I'm not explaining this well and you need to hear more about this back off phase. But essentially, it's just way less volume, way less sets, way less reps, but every rep that you do is high intensity, as max intensity as possible, so that we are still forcing change, but not so much volume that we get fatigued and tired and our bounce is lower for a time. So you always feel fresh in the back off phase. Hopefully I explained that well. I feel like I didn't. And then last step, number 10, which this is going to be a little bit more important for high school and college athletes, but it's still going to be beneficial for everybody. Number 10 was I killed him in the summer. I destroyed him with workouts in the summer. Then we went moderate when he was in school, but not in season. So when you first start school, for most high school basketball players, at least in the U.S., you get into school, right? First day of school, yay. You're still in the off season. Basketball doesn't start until normally November for a lot of teams. So it was different. The volume was different. Always high intensity, but the volume was different during the summer, during, when he first started to go to school, and then in season was much different. And I'll explain what I mean by different. I'll explain what I did. And then after season, postseason, it was different. And then we got to the summer again. But here's why. In the summer, I crushed him. Why? Why so high volume? Because he doesn't have to wake up for school every day. He can take naps whenever he wants. He can sleep in as long as he wants to. So he can recover more during the summer. That is that is so underrated. When you can just sleep whenever you want to sleep. I have a 3-month-old right now, almost 4 months. He sleeps all the time. Why? Because he's a baby and he's growing. What are you doing when you're crushing your body? You're growing. You're going to need more sleep. Your body is changing and adapting to all the workouts that you're doing. So you're going to need more sleep. But once we get in school, that alarm goes off. You needed more sleep. Your body wanted more sleep, but time to go to school, Johnny. So we did a little bit less volume when he first got in school. So preseason, postseason, it is a little bit less volume. It's still higher volume, obviously, than in season. Then we got in season, and it's basically a back off phase that we just talked about in step 9. Basically a back off phase the entire way through the season. It's in-season training. So it's super high intensity, going real intense, still trying to progressive overload on the exercises that matter, the fewer exercises that matter, but the volume is way down, right? We got practices 6 days a week. We got games. We got tons of outside what word do I want to use? Outside demands that are vying for his attention, vying for the systems of his body. We can't do super high volume in season. Most of you know that, but there's still some guys that'll go and they'll get a vertical jump program and try to run the program while they are in season. No, you need an in-season program, like in the vertical jump secret system. Imagine that. And when you get the vertical jump secret system, you also get my Beyond the Rim in-season program for anybody who is in season. But that's number 10. I killed him in the summer, moderate during school. In season, it was a back off phase or high intensity, low volume. And then we repeated that. Anyways, I hope this video helped. If you want to gain 14 inches on your vertical jump, or at least 6 to 12 inches, I guarantee that you will get at least 6 to 12 inches if you get my vertical jump secret system or your money back. This is the exact same system that I used to help this athlete gain 14 inches. It's how I got my entire high school team dunking. It's how I helped this 36-year-old athlete, David Barrett, start dunking again after only phase 2. The vertical jump secret system is the real deal. The link is down below in the pinned comment and the description of this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.